And before we go into presentations, I wanted to offer a statement relative to Virginia Military Institute and some information put together with collaboration from council members. And this is a City of Lexington statement of support for VMI. The Lexington City Council does a great job of focusing on the core functions of government and rarely wades into the riptide of politics. The legislative session in Richmond continues to bring partisan politics with the bills introduced to impact VMI. Many citizens have emailed communications to City Council and the mayor. These citizens have asked, why is Lexington doing nothing to support VMI? And I want to share with you our efforts to support VMI. Many of the communications received encourage City Council to take a stand and oppose the bills proposed. The City of Lexington stands with VMI and values their contributions to our community and the greater Lexington area. As the bills and associated energy in Richmond are very fluid and ever-changing, the City Council has remained engaged and interested in the outcome of the work of our Delegate Austin, Delegate McLaughlin, and the VMI team. Instead of reacting to the bills introduced in the House of Delegates and perhaps undermining VMI, Lexington leadership contacted the superintendent's office and asked how we can support the VMI team's efforts to respond and navigate to these bills. The message was to stand by as the superintendent and his team were working with our legislators and others to discern the goals and objectives of the bills introduced. As neighbors, the last thing the City of Lexington wants to do is to undermine or foul up the efforts of the VMI team. Thus, we have stood fast in support of our neighbors and the good work of the superintendent's team and ready to help as they see fit. The City of Lexington affirms that VMI is an important part of our fabric and a valued neighbor for their many contributions to the greater Lexington area. The City of Lexington also knows VMI remains focused on their stated mission to produce educated, honorable, and self-disciplined citizen leaders prepared for the military, public service, or private sector. The City of Lexington has been and will continue to be supportive of VMI and its mission and to a shared, productive, and vibrant future. And I offer that as information in response for the emails and the contacts that I've received from different folks. I'm not sure if the other council members that want to make additional statements would offer that at this time. And next item, citizens' remarks and comments. Again, I'll remind everyone, thank you for being here. We look forward to hearing what you have to say. I will identify the folks that have signed up, and if there are people that have signed up that have not signed up who would like to speak, I will be glad to identify you afterwards. I'll remind everyone our guidelines that we ask to be followed as we ask you to come to the front here at the podium to please come forward, stand at the podium, and for the record, state your name and if you're a resident of Lexington, Virginia. And if you want to be contacted after this meeting, please provide your contact information to the clerk. We ask that you make your comments to the council as a whole and do not engage the audience. Please be brief, state your position, and provide facts. Any written statements or supporting materials, please provide to the clerk for distribution. And debate is prohibited. This is a time for you to share your thoughts and ideas with your city council. In general, we don't respond to public comment in the moment. We just are here to listen and hear what you have to say. And again, each speaker is allotted 3 minutes. I've got my reminder. If you happen to be utilizing your full 3 minutes, I will alert you as we get close to that. And if you represent a group, we do allow 5 minutes. You may not yield your allotted time to another person. But with that, I would like to invite up Mary Stewart Harlow, who signed up to speak to council. Mary Stewart, welcome. It also identifies Russ, but I don't see him.
Russ is tied up with choir tonight.
Very good.
I'm Mary Stewart Harlow. I I gave up choir to come and voice my opinion. So thank you for letting me speak live on McDowell Street.
Thank you.
Anyway, first of all, I wanted to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much for your dedicated commitment to our city and the people who work and live here. There are understandably many tasks and responsibilities that you juggle every day, and as citizens, we appreciate your efforts on our behalf. I'm here tonight as one of your constituents to urge you to issue a resolution in support of VMI. I'm not asking you to oppose a bill in Richmond. I am merely asking for your support, a formal resolution supporting VMI. Regardless of how the city feels at this time, we have to acknowledge that we have been intrinsically connected to VMI since its founding. VMI employs between 700 and 800 residents in the area who contribute roughly $10 million yearly to our local economy. The Marshall Museum, the Center for Leadership and Ethics, VMI's athletic facilities, and all the various cultural activities all bring big tourism dollars to our town. Do you not think it important to recognize this? And in the same way that Lexington has evolved over the last 150 years, VMI has followed suit. Students of color now make up 24% of the student body, and women make up 14% of the student body. I don't need to remind you of all the numerous ways that Lexington benefits from VMI, but here are just a few that came to mind. We have the Georges downtown, thanks to the Gottwald family of VMI. We can be rightly proud of the college orientation workshop, which Jean Williams, class of '74, quietly sends minority and at-risk students to VMI each summer. We have VMI's stewardship of the Chessie Trail. They're no longer operating it, but we have Sergeant Hockaday's long tenure at the Shenandoah Attic. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Lexington would be without these people. And if Washington and Lee were under scrutiny, would Lexington not publicly offer a vote of confidence? If the University of Virginia were under scrutiny, would Charlottesville not publicly voice its support? If Hampton-Sydney were under scrutiny, would Farmville not stand by them? VMI Superintendent, Lieutenant General Furness, would have been here this evening to answer any questions, but his presence was unfortunately needed in Richmond. As we have already heard, he welcomes legislators from Richmond, and he does welcome all the council members to visit and see how VMI operates, and is unlike other colleges, rightly so. VMI has a different, more complex, and yet vital mission to carry out in the city of Lexington, the state of Virginia, and our nation. Lexington City Council exists to serve the people who elected them. Our city and the city council must not sit on the fence. We must stand with VMI. The cadets, the faculty, and the staff of VMI deserve no less than a resolution of support. And the mayor's statement tonight and the absence of a vote on this, I think, falls short. Thank you for your time and your consideration. If anybody would like one of these things that I did pass out to the council members, I'm happy to provide it, showing the editorial and the letter from all of the cadets that wrote and whose comments were submitted to the newspaper. Shall I just give those to you, Kings? If anybody would like a copy, I have.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary Stewart. Thank you for your message. Yes, ma'am. Next on the list is Paul Creel. Paul, and on deck is Morris Trimmer. Paul, welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here as a citizen of Rockbridge County or Lexington, but I am a Virginian. I'm also a 28.5-year service Army colonel, and I retired recently after a combination of service, active and Army Reserve service. But most importantly, I'm a father to a second-class cadet at VMI that came here for one reason and one reason only, because he had a desire to swim and dive. VMI is one of the only 4 colleges in the state of Virginia that has a diving team for men. If you dissect the structure and the activities and opportunities that VMI provides our cadets, it is above and beyond what other colleges in Virginia provide. If you look at the facts of the history, Virginia, the United States has evolved tremendously for the better. In the last 2.5 years of my son being a cadet here, I have had the opportunity to get to know him in a different light. I have had the opportunity to get to know his classmates in a different light. He has had roommates of every ethnicity and every socioeconomic background you can imagine. But they are forged together as a class, not because of history, not because of misguided views that are inculcated in the Corps of Cadets, but they are forged as cadets, as classmates, because of the rigor and structure of the rat line. They all start out at the bottom of the heap, and they have to work their way up and prove themselves. And that effort and that struggle builds character. In my 28.5 years of service as both an Army officer, as well as working in other elements of the U.S. federal government, I have had the opportunity, unknowingly and knowingly at times, have had the opportunity to work with VMI alumni. To a man and woman, what VMI produces in terms of character is bar none. I would put them a step ahead of what West Point establishes. And if you look at the facts, VMI plays a significant role in our national defense. I strongly urge you to relook the language that you've used in your resolution and take a vote, because the information that is guiding some of these House bills that have been submitted is incomplete and is based on misguided, outdated perceptions and views. And the facts speak for themselves if our legislators will take the time to look at the facts for what they are. Thank you.
Mr. Creel, thank you for being here, and thank you for your service. It's always, having visited the swimming pool and aquatic center is what I'm trying to say. It's an incredible facility, and excited that your son's being able to take advantage of that, and I hope he's having great success, especially this past weekend. So thank you for being here. Come on down, Jan, and Sam Collins, you're on deck. On deck. Yes. Welcome, Jan.
Good evening, Mayor Friedman, council members. Jan Lowry, 51 Shepherd Drive, Lexington, Virginia. I am not a citizen of Lexington. I live in the county, but I'm here this evening to represent the Rockbridge Area Republican Committee, which consists of Rockbridge County, the cities of Buena Vista, and the city of Lexington. Virginia Military Institute should not be a political football tossed back and forth in the General Assembly, regardless of its leadership. We Rockbridge and Lexington citizens need to stand up and speak out in support of VMI and oppose the bills that are being presented in Richmond. I'm glad to hear this evening, Mayor Friedman, that you have made a statement. However, I wish it would go a little bit further, like previous speakers have spoken about. These bills, although in amended versions are a bit better than originally presented, still create an unnecessary distraction for both the General Assembly and for the Virginia Military Institute. On behalf of the Rockbridge Area Republicans, I'm asking the City Council to publicly support a resolution in support of VMI and oppose the bills that the General Assembly has with their interference with VMI. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And thank you for your service in the Republican Party. Sam Collins, come on down. And we have Larry Weesey on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
And I too want to express my appreciation for City Council and all you do to help the city and how you deal with the issues. I know there's a lot of pros and cons, but you seem to do a very good job in my 6 years here. Sam Collins, Edmondson Avenue. So I've crossed out a lot of discussion on my index card here because much of that has already been discussed, but I'm going to take a little different tact. I'm looking for the city and the city council to be proactive, not reactive. The statement I heard tonight is reactive. It's almost too late. As soon as these bills came out, any business would have had a communication plan because it affects the business, the income, the economics, and the environment in Lexington City. Waiting for the winds to change, the language to change is too late. Even if there is a statement now which is approved, which I hope there is, it will be looked at as being forced because other counties, many of them around us, have already taken a position. Lexington now has to take a position. We should be leaders. We should lead this context and lead this issue because we are the ones who are effective. Other than that, I think everything has been stated. I would encourage you to have an official position and recover that. And in the future, look to be leaders in what affects the town and the city so that people can look at you as in the best interest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sam. Larry Weesey, come on down. And Fritz Fleming, you're on deck.
How are you all?
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't live in the city. I live at 1469 Thornhill Road, which is just outside the limits. I was in the class of 71 at VMI. VMI is in your city limits, but I'm not here on my own behalf. I'm here, I guess, as a proxy for Dr. Ellington, David Ellington. You'll all know him.
Yes.
He is at I think he told me it was a medical malpractice insurance board that he serves on, and he had to be in Maryland for that tonight. But he wrote a letter to you, and if with your permission, I'll read it to you. Dear ladies and gentlemen of the Lexington City Council and the Mayor of Lexington, as I am unable to attend the council meeting this evening in person, I would like to take this occasion to join the many other voices of the citizens in Lexington in support of the city of Lexington, expressing its support for the Virginia Military Institute in the unnecessary turmoil that has enveloped in recent weeks. I am a graduate of VMI, class of 71. He was a brother out of mine. And Lexington High School, class of 1967. With the exception of my years of study at the Medical College of Virginia and my 9 years of service in the Army, I have lived and worked in Lexington since 1961. My wife was born in Lexington when the hospital was earlier located in Jackson House on East Washington Street, and is also a 1967 graduate of Lexington High School. She subsequently taught math at Liburn Downing Middle School for 18 years, so we are both very familiar with our local community in VMI. That's Jane. You guys know Jane. She was on city council and she was on school board, I believe. He continues. The turmoil that has erupted at VMI did not need to happen. While situations arose in the past with some critics even now invoking criticisms around happenings that were over a century ago, VMI is not like it was 150 or even 25 years ago. Times and socially accepted behavior and language have changed, and so has VMI. For those unfamiliar with the power and leadership structure of the Cadet Corps, there is the cadet military structure in the body of the Corps or regiment composed of 3 battalions, and the class system with the first class seniors providing the top leaders, followed by the second class juniors, third class sophomores, and the fourth class rats or freshmen. A very large degree of the present criticism revolves around the accusations of inherent racism and misogynistic and discriminatory behavior behavior structure. Look closely at the selected leaders in those 2 areas, and you'll find that the glove just doesn't fit. The top ranked leaders in the military structure, the regimental first captain, that's the highest rank you could get in the Corps, and the top ranked leaders in the class structure, the president of the first class, elected by his classmates, are both African Americans, both selected on the basis of merit by their fellow classmates on the basis of merit by the cadets. All 3 battalions in the Corps are commanded by women. Again, selected on the basis of merit. General Furness has invited members of the General Assembly and the executive branch of our state government to come to Lexington to meet the cadets, kick the tires, and see VMI in action. I suspect he would grant the same invitation to you. VMI provides an integral part to our local, state, and national ethos. I ask you to support such an institution. Signed, David A. Ellington, MD, and his wife, Jane Donald Ellington.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for representing Zeke and Jane, who are very dedicated volunteers and professionals in our community. Fritz Fleming, come on down. As Fritz is coming forward, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Russ, we will pick you up if you're on deck.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Thank you for letting me come to talk. I'm here as first of all, I don't live in Lexington. My wife and we live out in the county, but we go to church in Lexington. We come to town a lot. We spend a lot of time here in Lexington. And I'm here to speak about VMI. As I didn't go to VMI, I went to Southern Methodist University in Dallas because that's where I'm from. But as a parent of 2 daughters, one is she was class 03. So back in the early days when females were first admitted to VMI, she graduated in 03. Classmate was a Delegate Foy. And she was also, our daughter was a co-captain of the track team with Michael Lokale from Kenya. I was just looking him up because I remember he was pretty smart, but he was the first Rhodes Scholar from VMI since 1967.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, they were co-captains of the track and cross country team. And our oldest daughter, she came on full scholarship. She was given the opportunity to run here, which no other college gave her, even wanted her to run. And she graduated and went to medical school. Now she's an emergency room pediatrician outside of Houston. Wow. And we talked to her a lot. And of course, she convinced our youngest daughter, who's now at VMI, she's class 28. So they're 25 years apart. But so our oldest daughter and youngest daughter, VMI, the 3 daughters in the middle didn't, but they make their own decisions, right? So, as a parent, we really just can't speak more highly of what VMI did for our oldest daughter. And she said she'd go there again anytime. Mm-hmm. And I think the most thing that she commented about was it really prepared her for the rigors of being an emergency room pediatrician. So, that said, and our youngest daughter, she's class 28, so she's just wrapping up her second year. and she's an English major, but she's you know, it has its points we hear, but she's sticking with it and gonna go to the end. And I really appreciate the support that you're offering to be a teammate, work with VMI to help them through this situation. And if I might add, real quick, I spoke also at the county meeting, and someone, it wasn't me, someone else had this really great idea that, you know, they're talking about a task force, right? That putting one together. They said, you know, somebody from the county needs to be on a task force. I'm like thinking, you know, somebody from the city needs to be on a task force because VMI is in Lexington.
Right.
And we don't want all these people from outside, you know, telling us what to do. We need good, solid representation on that task force from Lexington to make sure that, you know, the city's voice is clearly heard. But I thank you for your time, and we can't be any happier with what VMI has done for our two daughters. So
Fantastic.
thank you very much for letting me talk, and I really appreciate the help that you're offering.
Mr. Fleming,
let me know.
Thanks for joining us, and congratulations on raising successful children.
My wife.
Smart man, smart man. Yeah. Russ, would you, we skipped over you because you weren't here, but if you would like your 3 minutes, we would love to hear from you. Take your time. Yes. You can sing your comments if you'd like.
Thanks. Russ Harlow. I am a resident of Lexington. I live at 106 West McDowell Street. I'm sorry I'm late and I didn't get to hear what everybody else said, and I'm sure a lot of it has already been repeated. Things that you already know, and that is that we have a symbiotic relationship, VMI and Lexington. What's good for one is good for the other. What's bad for one is bad for the other. And I just want to encourage you to support a resolution to support VMI going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being with us. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak to council this evening? Mike Strickler, come on down. Welcome, Strick.
My name's Mike Strickler. I live at 630 Stonewall Street. And the last 21 years of my career at VMI were in public relations and as executive assistant to the superintendent. I don't say these things to beat my chest. I just to let you know, I know a little bit about what's going on now and what General Furness is facing and what VMI is facing. And first, I want to thank the council for reaching out to him and letting him know that he has your support. And I from experience, I believe he's doing everything that is right. He's trying to work with the General Assembly closely. He's down there constantly working with them and trying to get a resolution that's fair for VMI. So in light of this, in light of what VMI has meant to this community, I think would be most appropriate for this council to pass a resolution supporting VMI. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else who would like to speak to council? It can be about VMI or anything else, as you heard Morris speak about Woods Creek. Yes, sir. Come on down. Thank you for being here. If you could state your name for the record, please.
I'm Sterling Mullison. Sorry, Mayor, when you asked me where I lived, if I lived here in Lexington, I wasn't sure, how specific I need to be. So I don't live in the city. I live in the county. So I've been here in Rockbridge about 4 years now. But so my background, I spent 20 years in the military, in the Army, another 20 years serving as a civilian in the Department of Defense. So spent 40 years supporting the warfighting community. And just one more perspective, I very much appreciate, and I moved to Lexington partly, or Rockbridge, because of the history here, and I love the connection of VMI to this area, along with the other colleges, universities. But VMI's role, critical role in the overall national security, shouldn't be understated. It's already been stated, the caliber of leaders that VMI produces is peerless. They make the other leadership across the warfighting communities better. That equates to combat effectiveness. And from a very personal standpoint, that saves lives. And all of our service members deserve to have the best leaders they can. VMI produces tremendously capable, competent leaders because of the methodologies they use to training their folks. Any disruptions, and I've heard that mentioned a number of times, how disruptive this has been, that is going to rob VMI cadets of some experience, some skill set that they need later on, is going to equate to lives lost. So I stand here to support the other folks who have asked you to be more proactive. Say that you're opposed to these bills. Public resolution and support would be great. But the stretch is far outside the county. It's global. And for those of us who have friends and relatives and sons and daughters who are in that warfighting community now, they need the best that VMI can possibly produce without disruptions to how they've been doing it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sterling. Appreciate you being with us, and thank you for your service to our country. Yes, sir. Step right up. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Good evening. I'm Evan Clark. I'm a resident as a student at WNL. Some things my fellow citizens said inspired me to come up here today. Specifically talking about how we can work as a team, no matter if this resolution happens or not, if these bills pass in the General Assembly or not. The takeaway to respond to disruptions and turbulence, if you will, from the state level, even the federal level, is to be working as a team, have open and strong lines of communication. And I just appreciate in your opening statement and in the fact that we have members of council that have gone to Richmond recently and continue to stay connected to what's happening there. The takeaway is I really encourage and ask that we continue to have strong lines of communication from my institution to this institution through VMI. That's really important. That's what's going to determine our proactiveness, our resilience through all of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you for being with us this evening. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to council this evening? Not seeing any hands raised or acknowledgement, I'll close the citizens' remarks and comments, and greatly appreciate all the folks that came to speak this evening and share with us your perspective and delivering messages for council to hear.